So how do I sell my house if I have low or no equity? This is a question you might be asking yourself if you just bought your home in the last 24 months and now you need to sell due to a job relocation, a family situation, or for any other reason. Or you might be a homeowner who's going through pre-foreclosure, you got a lot of stress going on in your life, or you might just be underwater because you bought at the peak of the market and now you have to sell. Well, don't worry, because in today's video, I'm going to show you 2 solutions that can be provided to you in order to sell your home with low or no equity. So to understand why a seller would use one of the 2 methods that I'm going to present later in the video to sell their property, you first have to understand why is it so difficult to sell a property with low or no equity. So let's just say, for example, by the way, I drew this really quickly, so please ignore my bad handwriting and my artistry. You can tell I'm pretty much Leonardo da Vinci, right? Well, let's say you bought this property for $300,000 and you purchased about a year ago. You might have used a 3.5% down FHA loan, you might have used a 0% down VA loan, or you might be underwater, meaning let's say you purchased for $300,000, but now the market value is only around $290,000. Or you might be in pre-foreclosure, meaning you might be behind on some payments. Well, let's say you were to list this on the open market, the MLS, for $300,000 and you were able to get a full price offer. Well, the thing you have to understand is when you sell for $300,000, you're not going to have $300,000 in your pocket. What's going to happen is at the closing table, you're going to pay 3% to the seller's agent for their commission, another 3% for the buyer's agent commission, and then another 3% for closing costs, repairs, concessions, other little things like that. And so the total, we're going to arrive around 9%. On average, however, we're seeing a 10% for the national average of how much it costs in order to sell the property. So for this example, you would have to come out of pocket $30,000 just to get rid of the property. Now, can you imagine if you bought a $600,000 property, that would become $60,000 you'd have to come out of pocket if you have no equity. And so this is why it's very difficult in order to sell just to get rid of the property, you have to come out of pocket. So let's get into the solutions. Okay, so solution number 1. If your property is distressed or needs repair and you know that the ARV, the after repair value, will be worth more than what it's currently at because of the condition it's in, then most likely a cash investor will be willing to pay for the property and cover your debt if they know they're able to fix and flip it on the market to try and make a profit. And so this solution only works in certain scenarios, which is why most people actually use solution number 2. Okay, so solution number 2, subject to, which is basically a fancy term or way of saying allowing the purchaser of the property to take over the existing mortgage that's already in place. Let's say, for example, you have a $300,000 property with no equity, and every month you're paying $2,000 per month. What subject to allows you to do is sell the property to a new purchaser who is willing to come in and take over the existing mortgage payments that are already in place. Now, what this allows you as a seller to do is sell the property with $0 out of pocket, because you no longer have to pay for agent commissions, closing costs, repair, and other fees that you would have to pay if you were to sell on market. And in some cases, it even allows you to net some money in your pocket depending on how the numbers play out. So the reason a purchaser would want to use subject to purchase a home by taking over the existing mortgage is because now they can take advantage of the lower interest rate that's already in place. And so let's say for this example, the property was at a 3% interest rate. A person who would usually have to go to a bank to get, let's say, a 7, 6, 8% interest rate, now they're able to come in and take advantage of the 3% interest rate that's already in place. And so a lot of times the homeowner or investor that's coming to purchase the house is not necessarily after the house itself, but rather after the interest rate that's already in place. Now, a common misconception that people get wrong all the time is they think subject to is the same thing as an assumable mortgage, which those two are completely different things. Subject to can sometimes take under 48 hours in order to process, while on the other hand, an assumable mortgage can take from anywhere from 45 days to 90 days to fully process, and you have to go through a lender for the assumable mortgage. And so as a seller, a lot of times you don't have that much time, especially if you're in pre-foreclosure and your auction date is coming up, or you're a seller who needs to move, you're moving out of state for a new job, a family situation, for whatever reason. What Subject 2 allows you to do is sell the property quickly without having to go through a very long process. So another misconception that a lot of people have is they think that Subject 2 is an illegal process, which in reality, it's actually a very legal process that has been done across all 50 states in the US for decades upon decades. And we actually have attorneys and title companies who would be happy to walk you through the full process and show you the paperwork and how everything lays out. And so, although it's not as popular as a traditional sale on market, it is completely legal. So by now you probably have a million questions like, what does the paperwork look like? How long is the timeline? Which are all great questions, and why me and my team are here to help you through that process and answer any of your questions and concerns that you might have about this process. So feel free to book a 30-minute Zoom call with us, link in the description down below, or you can find my contact information in the description below. Me and my team, we get texts, calls, and messages all the time from homeowners or property owners who have low or no equity who need to sell. So with that being said, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.